Got to get it, Papa. Here we go. We're on our way. Well, here I am, and guess what? I'm not stuck in my car this time. I almost don't know how to behave. I'm actually out in the open. Look at that! Lovely grounds. There's a bird. I don't know if you can see him over there. The birds are hopping around. It's nice and chilly. You can see I have my secret super super warm jacket on. And the fall is starting to turn some of the leaves different colors. Not exactly right here, but coming in I saw some different colors. And I'll show you something that's pretty amazing. I've been wanting to come here for a while, and today we're here. So look that. Yes, look that. This is a big giant antebellum type house. And it's called Longwood, and it's got an interesting story behind it. But besides the story behind it, there's something else interesting about it. The house is actually shaped like an octagon. If I was to get on top up there and look down, it would be the shape of a stop sign, basically. And that's pretty amazing by itself, because you don't see too many houses that big, shaped like that, that are this old. So there you go. That's pretty amazing by itself. And I see they already got some Christmas decorations up, some little ribbons and tings on that. But we're going to go inside and learn about it a little bit. In a little while, there's a tour. We're going to go see about that. But one thing I can show you from out here is, you see the windows on the bottom floor are pretty fancy around the door and all that. But up above that, especially up behind the giant, it's really giant, behind this giant finger, you'll see there's some wood covering up the windows. What's that all about? Well, you're gonna find out. That's what. And I'm not going to tell you right now, so there, take that. But that means you're just going to have to sit and watch, or I guess if you're really crafty, you can fast forward over the beginning here and skip a bunch of stuff to find out why it's shaped like that, and why some of the windows are covered up with wood. In the meantime, I'm waiting for the tour to begin. They start every hour, and it's not quite time for the next one. So we're just gonna be wandering around outside in the yard for a while. Yeah, here's some of the grounds around it. The house is kind of on the top of a hill, and so it all slopes down. And look, there's some fall colors over there, and a giant finger again, and some moss up in the trees, so you can tell you're still in the south. And that's a magnolia tree right there, right. Oh, behind the giant finger, sorry. And there's some different little support buildings and stuff like that. And we'll come around the side here. And you can see that's the basement level, or the first floor, depending on how you look at it. I'll see what they call it when I go inside. But you can see they have big old giant porches and all kind of fancy woodwork and stuff. Really cool house. But you can also see that big door up there is blocked off. It's all covered with wood. And so are these windows. The big tall windows and the windows above that. The little tall windows. It's my technical jargon for the day. Hopefully that's all I get a chance to do. But secret stories about ancient houses. This is from the 1800s. It's not technically that ancient. Because I'm from the 1900s, so there you go. There's a little support building kind of in the back. I think it might have been it was just a shed or a barn or something like that. I don't think anybody lived in here. They might say something about it when we do the tour, but you can see inside there. And look all that. They have all kind of stuff stored out here. They got some furniture and a buggy. There's some farm implements back there. And this thing right here, some people might think that's a swing set, but I beg to differ. See, I'm using fancy language now. That was used to weigh bales of cotton, I believe. Believe it or not, it's a scale, and you can see on here there's some numbers and stuff. That's how many pounds. So there you go. And there's a wagon. It was a wagon back there. And this thing, this is pretty cool looking. And there's a bench behind it. I'm not sure what this thing is. There's a this is the carriage house, by the way, and I know that because there's a carriage in here, but also because it says so on the sign, and it tells about what some of the stuff is. So there you go. So you got your hay tongs and your axe head and your metal brake and your corn or pea sheller, all the things you need, everything. And technically this, I believe, is the back of the house. This is where you go in over there, but there's like a garage shed over there and stuff like that. And lots of big oak trees. Well, let's hurry up so we don't miss the tour.
That's all the way through. There's always one of these chairs that's upholstered in blue that doesn't have a ribbon on it in case anyone cares to sit down. The tour will be about an hour long. Longwood is the largest octagonal home in the United States. It is over 30,000 square feet. It is 6 stories tall. Would have had 49 finished rooms, 27 fireplaces, 24 closets, and even a bathing room with hot running water. This has had it been completed. Everything you saw when you drove up, from the foundation all the way to the spire on top of the engine dome, was completed in 18 months.
Yeah, this is the basement.
The room we just left was intended to be the billiard room. The room you're in now is supposed to be the smoking parlor. You notice the 2 doors here both go out onto verandas. As we wander through the basement, you'll realize that every single room in this house opens onto a veranda. You'll also notice out the windows the dry moat. That was actually dug around the basement in order to make sure we still had airflow through the basement since they did not have air conditioning. Also give us our light. You'll notice as you're looking to your right that wall starts raising up in height. Howard had wanted the architect to make this element look like a giant sandstone castle rising up out of the earth.
And these are the portraits of the owners, of the people that built it. And this is a lazy boy type chair that he invented himself. So that's pretty cool. Look at that.
This room was intended to be it's the stair room or the trunk room. When you would come up to the main part of the house with your carriage, your trunk would be brought into this room to be disassembled and be taken upstairs. They used it for another parlor. The gentleman over the fireplace is Julia's uncle. His name was Ruth. He's credited for building the mansion Ruthven here in town and also Dunlip here in town. He was also, when the war broke out, was considered to be the wealthiest man in the entire world. And all of that money came from cotton. That is the family that Julia grew up with.
They got a little Christmas tree set up.
This room was intended to be Howard's study. Downstairs study where you could pay his workers and they wouldn't have to mingle with the family upstairs. The writing desk there was his original writing table. And the glass case on top of the writing table is housing the architect's pattern book from 1858. And that is the photo of the villa that they were seeing in that pattern book. They set this room up for the boys' bedroom. There were 11 children, 8 of them survived, 4 girls and 4 boys. So the 4 boys shared this room. The portrait over the mantel is of the baby of the family. He was only 2 years old when they moved out of the slave quarters into this basement temporarily. So he never knew the family's wealth. He only knew all that poverty of the war.
Oh God, look at that guy. What a creep.
So Howard had over 23 plantations in his lifetime. He had 5 operating plantations when they were doing this home. One of his plantations was called Evergreen. Evergreen was known for its cypress timber. There is over 350,000 linear board feet of cypress in this house that came from that plantation. Also, all these floors that we have been walking on were intended to be slate. Slate would never come because of the blockades, because the slate comes from the Northeast. This is their wedding photograph. This is their wedding announcement photograph. Their wedding invitation, and they were married here at the Catholic Church in Natchez. They were the only ones that produced heirs for them. We must always keep that in the public. So for 54 years now, we're closed on Christmas Day. We're now listed as one of the top 100 museum homes to see in the nation. And within 2 years, we raised the funds 5 over 85 acres. Natchez has the largest collection of photos anywhere in the nation. Don't know why. Thought I would. But in the South, we call it sheeplock. In Julia's diary, she actually writes about that it takes quite a talent for the servants' children to sit and run the pulpit during the meals. Because she said, you have to create just enough breeze to keep the flies off the food, but not so much that you blow out the candles and leave the diners in the dark. I had never thought of that until I read that passage. The high chair was original to the family. All the children used it. It was from the 1840s. The old Paris china on the table was not Julia's. It's some that the garden club ladies found. It closely represents hers. We know that on their 1858 tour, they had ordered hundreds and hundreds of these pieces of old Paris for their house. All of it was custom made for them with a cotton roll on top to show that's where they were. During the war, she would have sold anything of any value. She sold all of her china except for this one vegetable tree. It has a Franklin, which probably like the child. She got rid of many of her pieces, but she held on to the rose-colored crystal punch bowl, also the small rose-colored glass with his name etched on it.
That's a plate warmer right there. Put it by the fireplace and it would keep your food warm until you were able to put it on the table.
Now we gotta go, that's where we started. So we made a big circle, kind of inside an octagon. Now we get to the middle.
The rotunda Haller was going to use for his wine cellar. 4 of those 24 closets in the house are here in the corners of the rotunda. All your wine would have been imported from France and always kept behind lock and key. Hal was going through his floor plans and realizes that this room, the only room in the entire household, if the doors were closed, would not have had any natural light. He's the one that put in the sky windows. Show you here on the plans, and we have hundreds of these plans. Any revisions going back and forth between Samuel and the architect and Haller, many of them rolled up back and forth. This is the basement that we're in now, the rotunda where we're standing. The floor above us was entirely for entertainment. The 3rd floor up were the girls' chambers, bed chambers, the master bed chambers, also a guest room, and the bathing room with the hot running water. The 4th floor up was the boys' bedrooms, the trunk room, and another game room. The 5th floor up, seen here in this photograph, was the solarium. That's also where Haller was going to put his library, over 10,000 books. The 6th floor up is the observatory. That observatory is encircled with 16 windows. Each window is 4 foot taller than these ceilings, and each window is as wide as the double doors are open. Haller was encircling this floor with convex mirrors to bring all the light down through the rotunda to flood.
I'm doing these out of order.
We're ready to go upstairs now?
Floor plans. Ooh, we gotta go upstairs and see all that.
Those are both wine cellars, wine closets, yes ma'am.
You can pause that and look at that when you can.
14-foot ceilings.
Makes sense now.
Yeah.
This is the grand.
This is the house. You would not have seen any brick. Brick was a building material that was not meant to be exposed. The entire inside would have been plastered with gleaming white plaster. The entire exterior was to be stuccoed and scored to look like giant sandstone blocks. Haller wanted this to look like a sandstone castle. The entire thing was to be painted in a monochromatic sandstone color, not the red dome you see up there now. We know the moldings on this floor, the crown moldings, were supposed to be almost 18 inches high and 11 inches deep, not your typical Greek revival you see all over town. These were very oriental and heavily ornate. The floors in this room were supposed to be black and white marble. The veranda out front was supposed to be black and white marble. The steps leading to that veranda were to be carved out of white Carrara marble. Haller and Julia were still working with an engineer, trying to decide if this formal staircase, when this one would be replaced, if it could all be carved out of white Carrara marble, or if they would have to carve it out of oak. She had already moved it from this side of the room to this side of the room because she wanted people to have a straight view into her drawing room when they came in through the entrance. Very hands-on in every part of the project. We know the niches here, there's one here on the 2nd floor, and one right across from it were to have Italian marble statues, were to be lined in mahogany. We know that the rotunda, they had excited on an 8-point black and white marble star. Between each one of the points are those skylights. They had just finished the Crystal Palace and had realized the strength they could do the glass. The 8 plates were already ordered for the 8 skylights in the floor. When we go in the rotunda, if you get dizzy leaning back to look up, there's a mirror box in the center of the room, but you're going to be looking all the way up to the bottom of the image. That's way up.
Cool.
From here to the smoke alarm
Well, either that or it's way down there. One of the two.
is a little over 100 feet to there.
Wow, I wouldn't want to fall in there.
Today's construction, we can almost build a 10-story building in that amount of feet. That doesn't include the basement, it doesn't include the onion dome, or the 21-foot spire that's on top of the onion dome. Used to say that people in town must have thought he was building a skyscraper when this thing was going up. But since we have found newspaper articles of the time talking about the locals would come out in their buggies and sit and picnic on the lawns and watch the building of Longwood. It was quite a spectacle. The first balcony you see above you there, that was the master bedroom floor with the girls' bedrooms. You see there in the corner.
Yeah, this is the dining room, or was going to be the dining room. Never finished.
The last building down there on the end is the old carriage house from the 1820s house that was originally here. That house is really a buckboard. West Buggy and then she's a church. Also, the big piece in there is her room. The gift shop downstairs was her songwriter. And the room, she would actually sit in the middle of the room to weave fabric. She wove fabric for her own clothes, kids for her clothes as well as for herself. The 2-story building is the slave quarters. That's actually a 4-story building. There's a full basement that opens up to the yard in the back. And then a full-size attic above. That was designed to house 32 house servants. Those are just house servants. This was not a plantation. It does not include gardeners. She had over 10 acres of formal rose gardens. When they went through the listing of all her roses that she had in her collection, did a lot of repair done because they started a new paint job in April. But these are still sent up to Philadelphia and required to be repaired and sent back down to us. In this next room over, as we go by, you'll notice that they pretty much used this floor as an attic. Everything was boarded up in the house.
You can see how thick the walls are. Here's my hand for scale.
Who owns the forest, who's the cattle ranch. One of them, interesting mail package from New York to Mississippi, and the only address you need is the forest to get to.
That's upside down.
Lily's address, she lived at 624 Pine. She said she married well.
If that didn't get you dizzy.
Well. This room is supposed to be her grand drawing room. Not redo art projects, but because people would be out on the verandas or out on the lawns, when the music would start up, it would draw them to the space. It's the only room in the house that would have had 2 fireplaces, one in each end. This one is covered by that huge crate. The crate is what the piano downstairs came down the river in. The crate was made of black walnut. It weighs more than the piano does. Like I said, they didn't throw anything away. It was all brought up here to the attic. Julia, in her writings, talks about the 2 golden gasoliers that they had ordered for this room, and she was excited to see how beautifully they would illuminate all of the hand fresco painted ceilings in the drawing room. Very luxurious. Out on this next veranda, I'll point out some more about the pond that you drove around as you came out.
This is all just storage up here.
And again,
A big door.
there's a 5-inch gap in the center of that space.
You see, they actually made the bricks to fit the wall because of these corners.
Also in that 5-inch space is where they would run their gas lines. The house would have had its own gas plant. Everything was completely restored in their home. All the parts have been recreated to match the originals. All the brake fabrics have been restored to match the
Yeah, this is all building supplies. When they shut things down, those little wooden kegs are full of nails, square nails, stuff like that. Look at that. We're gonna go back this way. That's the front door, in case you didn't know. Even though it says exit up there. That's underneath us. That's where they lived. And that's the secret stairs we popped out of.
of the items items he ordered and paid for the house. This is listed as his adornment. His adornment cost him $250 to have it carved, shipped, and installed. It's carved in Philadelphia from the same guys who did all the columns. It's also out of poplar wood, which unfortunately, as you can see, the woodpeckers love. And had it been in cypress, it would probably still be up there, but by 1901, that had completely rotted and fallen off the house.
Yeah, this is the original thing that was up on top. And here's my hand for scale. But you can see all the carving and everything. Solid wood. Now the new one is fiberglass, so it'll stay up there a little bit longer. It won't get the problems like woodpeckers pecking on it, punching holes. He was saying that at some point in the future, they're working on a project where they're going to have sort of a virtual reality version of the house, where when you walk around in there, you can see what the rooms would have looked like if they were finished. So that sounds pretty cool. But he said it might be a little while before that's finished. That's going to be quite a project. But they got blueprints and everything. They know what they were going to do. They have tons of blueprints and drawings of the house. And so that's pretty neat. Yeah, he was saying this building that it's like a garage kind of now. It's just open. That was the kitchen back in the day. Because a lot of times in these houses, the kitchen was a separate building because you dealt with a lot of fire and stuff. So it's better for this to burn down if there was a problem or accident instead of burning this down. So there you go. Now you know. And that was slave quarters, that building. And it's actually like 4 stories tall because it goes down in the ground too. It's got a basement. And here you can see why it was a kitchen, because there's the big fireplace where you could cook that. And now I don't know if they made boudin over here or not, but probably not. And that was some kind of a oven burner thing at some point. Oh, and another thing that was kind of different is that this house, Longwood, over there, this house was not a plantation house. That at the time when this was built in the mid 1800s, they were there were plantation houses around here, but these were townhomes, because Natchez, which is not too far away over there, was a fancy place with lots of rich people. They made all kind of money with cotton, and the people that owned this developed new strains of cotton and made lots of money. But then Civil War, they lost pretty much all of it. And that's why the house is never finished and all that stuff. So, but before, the plan for this is going to be a big townhome, and it's like a big party house. You know, people could come visit, and they could have, have like crawfish boils and stuff like that. Well, maybe not. But they would have parties and stuff out here. It was fancy. It was nice. Or it's planned to be super fancy and nice. Lots of marble and stuff like that. Not marbles like you play with. That's about, I lost all mine. But, marble to make floors, and they had statues and all kinds of stuff was ordered and never made it here because the Civil War broke out and they blockaded everything. And so they got to a point and they say, well, we can't build nothing else because we ran out of wood or nails, or the marble never came in, or the windows never came in. And so that was it. That was the end of it. But the family still owned it and stayed here, lived in the basement, basically, which wasn't the real plan, but that's how it worked out. So there you go. That's a little quick, super short explanation. That's all I can think about. doesn't look good. That's the Mississippi River, by the way, in case you didn't know, because I didn't tell you. Oh, there's plenty of places to park. I can park illegally right here. Well, coming down here reminds me that this is actually called Under the Hill, and Natchez is up there on top of the hill. But yeah, this is supposed to have some little restaurants and cool stuff down here for you to go do, and then you can look at the bridge and you can watch for people swimming in the river and stuff like that, or just floating in the river. That would be exciting. That really would be something to see. Yeah. Oh, this looks good. This looks good. French onion soup. Down in there, under the cheese and the bread. Look at that. Yeah, here we go. Shrimp and grits for the win. Here's my hand for scale. And that's some good old sweet potato fries over here. Look at that. Ooh, it's a 2-for-1. Well, that sure was good. Getting some good grub in the Magnolia Grill right here on the edge of the water. Look at that. So now I have to hike up the hill to back to my car, because I didn't know if you could park down here or what. I'm not too good at that. So anyway, yeah, that was really good. French onion soup and the shrimp and grits. So there you go. But if you're ever in Natchez, you have to go under the hill, because see, that's the hill right there behind those trees. And this is kind of under, not really literally under it, like a cave, as you can tell. In a way, I was kind of all excited because I thought maybe it'd be in a cave, but it's not, so that's okay. Anyway, I got to figure out how to get out from under the hill. Check back soon for more Look Dat.